Welcome to Tentative Title with Tim. This is a podcast about creativity, about process, about filmmaking, and about screenwriting. Welcome everybody back to the podcast. And we're in full swing of the Christmas season, at least here in the States. And it is really baffling that we're coming to the end of 2021. It's just, I can't seem to grasp that this is happening, at least already, because it seems like 2021 just like flew by. And I don't know. I wonder if you guys are feeling the same way. Of course, I'm sure every year I feel this way just because like it's the end of the year and you had, there's so many goals that I wanted to accomplish, and now there's only a couple weeks left, and it's like, oh wow, what did I really accomplish this year? Or, I don't want to say I didn't accomplish anything. I accomplished a lot of things, but there were certain things that I wanted to get done that just didn't get done, and that just happens. So this actually relates to what I wanted to talk about today, and that is cultivating an environment and a lifestyle of creativity. And it can be a challenge to just, one, recognize that you're in an environment that doesn't foster your creativity or doesn't actually put you at your best to create what you set out to create. Because like if you have a goal that you want to write a screenplay, if you want to write a novel, or if you want to make a film, whatever it is, you can obviously schedule it and try to do everything possible to make sure that like you take steps to make sure that it happens, but your environment and your lifestyle could kind of hinder that. It could throw you off the rails, so to speak, in terms of like actually getting there at your set goal, or just at all, because of the fact that like there's so many roadblocks in the way, and it can be discouraging because of the fact that like there's just chaos going on around you constantly. And I guess that really depends on your temperament. Some people thrive in that kind of, chaos, and it gives them a lot of energy, and they're able to kind of funnel that into whatever it is they're creating, and that's great. And that's kind of like what they're able to use towards that creative energy, towards those means. But like for me, I like orderly, I like quiet, and I got kids, and that doesn't happen most of the time. And so there's a lot of negotiating in terms of like my own way in which I'm able to motivate myself to get work done when I see that there are dishes in the sink, or I see that laundry needs to be done, or I see that like when I turn my back for a moment, like all of a sudden a room that was clean suddenly turned into chaos. It can be discouraging because, you look at it and you're like, it's going to take energy to get the kids to help out with this. Or I can do it myself and take that time, or I could, there's so many different ways in which I could approach the chaos in my life in order to make sure that I have time to be creative. But that doesn't always happen that way. And, sometimes like it just, the lifestyle that I have just doesn't allow me to be as creative as I want to be. And I end up doing, I end up basically just like moping around and not being creative, which is not helpful for anybody. It's not helpful for me. It's not helpful for my family. It's not helpful for, the story that I'm trying to tell, whatever it is I'm working on at the time. So these things are actually like, they are real things that we should consider in our lives if we want to have a creative lifestyle, to have a creative environment. And like I said, it really depends on your temperament. It really depends on like what it is you need. But all of it, no matter like what temperament you have requires some kind of action, requires some kind of sitting down and thinking about what it is you actually need. And you can't base that off of somebody else, because if you're looking at, say, Tarantino or Steven Spielberg, or if you're looking at John Grisham or whatever, like whatever it is you're trying to do in that field that you're working on, in that creative field, you can't base your effectiveness or your productivity off of somebody else. And I'm learning that as I go. I'm learning how to kind of look inward at what I need. And, it's changed over the last couple years. And so I just want to encourage you guys to, like, sure, you can use somebody who is successful as a baseline, because that's exactly what I did. I was watching interviews with Francis Ford Coppola at the time, and I loved Francis Ford Coppola. I was like, I want to learn how he makes films. I read like the interviews with him. I watched videos with him being interviewed. And one of the things that he said was, I get up early in the morning. Nobody's bothering me. I haven't had a chance to have a bad day yet. I can have my coffee. Like all of these things that he was listing off that were helping him be more creative, so that he could just get, he could start writing first thing in the morning. He could get that off of, if he didn't do it in the morning, he would be thinking about it all day, and he would feel like, oh man, I should have, I feel like I'm falling behind because I didn't get my pages in. And so I took that as a young student, and I thought, yeah, I should be getting up early too. I should be, doing the same thing. Like I can do this. And I did. And I did that for a very, very long time. And then, like it wasn't until like the pandemic where, like things kind of switched. And then this past November when I was doing a NaNoWriMo, I realized that waking up in the morning was not what I should be doing. Like my routine switched. And then I realized that, okay, in this time in my life, it's a lot better for me to do my writing at night before I go to bed. Still, like, there's still going to be some distractions, but at least, like, I've been awake for the entire day. I've got a chance to kind of like warm up, so to speak, in terms of like, my thought process and just all the things happening during the day. And, obviously, like there were some things that, so some days where it was just really hard because I was like, I'm tired. I want to go to bed. But I was like, no, I really, really need to get my words in. I need to make sure that I'm hitting my goals for every day. And, that really helped in getting me to, the 50,000 words that I was going for. And so the lifestyle had to change. I had to realize that, I was not getting up early. I was not, I did not have the environment in the morning in which I could be the most creative, the most effective in what I was trying to accomplish. And so I had to be honest with myself and say, it was great waking up early, but I can't do that anymore. That just, it's not going to work. And I have like months and months and months of trying to wake up early and it not happening, or maybe happening like once or twice, and I actually got some writing in and I felt great. But other than that, it's been a complete disaster. Like, my schedule is not working the way I wanted to. My routine is not working the way I wanted to. I need to stop and just reconsider what I'm doing. And then so writing at night turned out to be the next step in, I guess, my evolution in terms of like my lifestyle as being a writer and a filmmaker. And you have to be comfortable with changing it up. You have to be comfortable with like looking at your lifestyle, looking at the environment, and being honest with yourself and saying, okay, is this really going to benefit me as it is now. And this can be as simple as just like the way in which you have your desk set up. If you have a bunch of clutter on your desk, if you have to spend like 10 minutes clearing everything off your desk before you can get to work, that's not a good environment to be creative in, because if you're spending more time cleaning your workspace than you are actually like creating anything, then it's like you got to change that. It's not going to work because you're never going to get anything done. And that's another part that I'm learning about myself, is that if I can set up a workspace in which I can just get to work right when I need to, then I'm more likely to, I'll be honest, I'm lazy. I'm very lazy in a lot of ways. And so if I can cut the work that I have to do in order to get to, writing, then, I'm more likely to write. And I think that it's that way for a lot of us. Like if you have to do a lot of steps in order to get to what it is you're trying to do, more often than not, we'll go for what's easy. We'll go for, I have to clean off my desk to work on this thing, or I can turn on Netflix and watch a movie, and I'll just count it as like I'm just doing research for my next script. Yeah, that works, right? I know all of us have done that. I've done that plenty of times where I thought, okay, I'm just gonna, I'm watching a movie, but it's really for research. It's really just because I'm like trying to, accumulate like a point of view, another story that I can, kind of use as research for the thing that I'm trying to create. And as much as that there is a time and a place for that, because you can do research, obviously, and you can watch other films and see how other filmmakers, put together their films, or how writers like wrote their films, or even like, reading a book or whatever, like there is research involved, obviously. But when it turns into all I'm doing is research, and it's like, well, that's just a veiled excuse for not actually getting to work and creating something of your own. That's when it becomes a problem. And, like I said, I've been there plenty of times, and I've realized how much of a stupid excuse it was for me at the time, that I was like, yeah, what am I doing? Like, I should be like, instead of taking these 2 hours to watch this movie, I could have used that 2 hours and I could have put in a couple pages on the script that I'm working on, or I could have done something else to kind of help my career, help what I wanted to do move, even if it was an increment, just a step forward, would have been a lot better than the choice that I made. And because I had that kind of environment, I had that kind of like lifestyle where I made that okay. Or that it was, I kind of like let the excuses rule the day instead of just, saying, okay, well, I want to be a filmmaker, so I better act like it. And how do I do that? Well, I have to be working on something. Well, how do I work on something? Well, I need to make sure that I have my space clear, that I can get to work, that I'm doing, I'm doing things that are going to get me closer to that goal of being a filmmaker. And so often it's very hard to do. I admit it's just, you kind of look at where you are in life, and you look around, you're like, yeah, but I have so many like responsibilities. I have so many other things going on. How am I going to find the time, or how am I going to get myself to a spot where I feel like I can start creating? And obviously that's different for everybody, but when they say just do it, sometimes it means like letting those dishes sit. Sometimes it means letting the laundry pile up just for one more day, or at least for, to let it sit for like a couple hours, while you go and you do something for yourself, you be creative in whatever it is you're pursuing. because like that's the only way it's going to get done. Like you're going to there's going to be compromises. There're going to be, things in life where you're like, yeah, I really wanted to do this, but I really, really want to be, feeling like a author, filmmaker, playwright, screenwriter, whatever it is, like you got to make those compromises to get to the big goal that you want. And I think this is the perfect time to talk about it because of the fact we're coming to the end of 2021. Obviously, there's going to be New Year's, and so it's a chance to kind of redirect our focus to if you were flailing like I felt I was for a very, very long time. It's a chance to kind of refocus that energy and to to just kind of to say, all right, I said I was going to do this, and it's going to get done. I'm going to put in my focus. I'm going to put away the distractions as much as I can. I'm not going to like work nonstop to the point where I get, burn out. But, I'm not going to let as many distractions that have gotten in the way get in the way to achieve what it is that I'm claiming that I say I want to achieve. So, if this is something that you need to hear, like, I think it's something that we all need to hear every once in a while. Like, there was a point when I would hear, like, messages like this, and I'm like, yeah, I know that. Like, of course. Duh. How do you think I got where I got? Like, I'm still, like, I'm motivated. I'm staying focused. I know that I need to, have a clean workspace, and the environment of creativity, like, needs to, I need to be in that. And it kind of, I kind of forgot about it, over the past couple of years, and I'm coming back to it. So, okay, let me give you some things to do, because I realize that I ramble a lot about just things that are going through my head, and I don't know if I actually give any actionable advice, but let's just start with this. Like, look at your lifestyle and, your workspace, your environment, and what is it that you want to do? Like, just be honest with yourself. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? And then 2, what do you have to do with the environment that you're in to, like, one, it could be that, like, the thing that you do is, like, you just leave to go to, like, a Starbucks, and that's where you get your writing done, or, you find a park somewhere, or you just kind of leave, you leave the house or the apartment or whatever, and that's where your creativity, like, flourishes, and that's great too. But if you're somebody who, like me, who likes to just work inside the house, like, I don't have to put on I have pajamas on, obviously, but, like, where I can be in comfortable clothes, I can work, and I don't have to worry about somebody saying, okay, like, you got to get out of here because we're closing, because it's, at home. But look at your workspace and just kind of, get it cleaned up for the new year. Figure out ways in which you can cut steps away. Like, if you're somebody who, like, wants to write, then maybe you have your laptop sitting on your desk ready to go, or your computer, like, whatever. Or if you like to write longhand, just make sure you have a pad of paper right there with a sharpened pencil or a pen, just everything that you need right there. So when you sit down, you're like, okay, here we go, we're gonna write. Or if you're like, if you're editing something, or just, like, put your programs in places where you can find them easily. Don't hide them in folders. Don't put them in places where you're not going to think about them, because that happens to me all the time. I have programs, and I'm like, I'll just rediscover them, and I'm like, why don't I use this program? Oh, that's right, because it's hidden, in this menu somewhere that I never actually look at, and now, like, it's like I should be using this, because this is a program that's going to help me, be more efficient with what I want to do, or help me be more creative. So there's always that. Just looking at what it is you're trying to accomplish and making a small change so that the next time you sit down to go towards that goal, you don't have to deal with that extra small resistance of, well, I have to click over here, or, oh, well, I have to sharpen my pencil, or I don't have a pencil. I left my pencils off in some other room, just like put it all together before the time that you want to be creative. And also, like, define a time in your day where you're going to sit down and do a little bit towards that goal. That, like, increments are always better than nothing. Like that's how I started to really, especially with writing, like I could barely write 200 words because I was just like, I didn't have the discipline. And now I'm like writing like thousands upon thousands of words. And it's not that big of a deal because I've over time I've built in that discipline. I've built in the confidence too that I can do this, that I can write a feature screenplay. I could write 2, 3, 4, or 5 feature screenplays. I can write a novel. I can write all kinds of stuff. And it's like, because I've already proven it to myself that I can do it, and now it's just sitting down and actually doing it and making sure that I'm focused and ready to go, and that I'm being creative, and that I'm not worrying about all the extra stuff outside of the work that I'm trying to accomplish. So start off small. If there's any bit of advice, just start off small. Start with like I said, clearing the desk that you're using, making sure that you have materials ready to go before you actually sit down to work on whatever it is you're going to work on. Make sure that what time you're going to be doing that. Even if you do it once a week, just know what time, that block of time that you're going to be working on that thing, and then be consistent. I got to say, with this podcast, I did not know if I was going to be able to do this week to week. I honestly didn't know. But as I kept going, as I committed to releasing episodes every Monday, I would go out of my way to make sure that I had an episode ready to go every Monday. And I'm pleased to say that I fulfilled that goal. I fulfilled that promise to you guys that I was going to have an episode every single Monday. And this started back in 2020, and it's still going now, and I don't plan to stop. And, it's just increments, one week at a time, releasing same time every single week. And it's the same thing with your discipline, with what you're trying to accomplish. Every single, same time, as much as you can, same time. Just keep going, increments, build, because that's how you're going to get somewhere. You're not going to get somewhere by trying to cram it all into, an overnight session, when you have to deliver in the morning. It's just not going to work. So I hope this is helpful. I hope this puts a fire underneath your ass. I hope that you're ready to go into 2022 and start making some stuff. If you've been on the fence about, doing anything creative, I hope this is something that can motivate you. It's getting me fired up. I'm like, yeah, let's go into 2022. Let's make some more stuff. Let's start getting some stuff out there. Let's tell some stories, because that, on a human level, that's what we need. We need stories. We need stories about each other. We need to know that we're not alone in the world, that, the people that we see outside when we're walking around, have the same kind of conflicts and worries and struggles and wins, and triumphs, that we can have, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to let each other know that hey, we're all here. We're all here together. We can disagree about a lot of things, but we're still human, and none of us are getting out of this alive. That's just the way it is. So, we need to tell each other stories. We need to comfort each other with like stories that are, you know, that are uplifting, or at least something cool. I mean, at the bare minimum, you know, just tell a cool story. Why not? All right, guys. Thank you once again for listening. If you've been listening for the past, year and a half, 2 years, since 2020, thank you so much for showing up. Once again, I hope that I'm giving you something to kind of chew on, something to think about over the week. If not, I hope I'm just being entertaining and maybe doing something cool. All right, guys. I'll talk to you on the next one. If you'd like to connect with me, there is an email for the podcast. It's tentative.title.with.tim.podcast@gmail.com. There's also a Twitter account. The handle is @title_Tim. There's also a Facebook page where you can post questions, or you can connect with me there. Thank you guys for listening. I'll talk to you on the next one.